Wow, that shocked me.
I'm telling you.
Daggone.
I told you, I wasn't prepared.
You said to the point that it scared me.
It did. It scared me.
I'll be right back. Oh, I didn't tell you anything, did I?
What?
Well, no, I gave you the rundown.
Yeah. That's all I need. Woo.
I wish we would have brought some water now.
I know. You good?
Yeah.
Is that too sweet?
It is too sweet. Like NWO.
Is it in count?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what people do. They go, yeah, when they answer the phone.
No, I will say yellow.
Do you say yellow?
Yellow. According to who it is, I answer accordingly. My back's hurting.
All right. We're good. You ready?
Ready to go.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio.
What's up,
or
Facebook
its board of
Live?
directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the WLXU app on your smartphone device. Amber Turner is in the studio with me, as she is always. Amber, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. It feels good to be live again.
It feels amazing to be live again.
We are live. Live.
Coming at you live.
You know you're live when you're coming at somebody live and in color.
Oh, yes.
Yes. We are, ladies and gentlemen. This is a live radio broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. It's been such a great week. We got so much to talk about. And I want to start off talking about my birthday weekend. Amber, I was talking about last week on the show that I had a birthday coming up, January the 20th.
You did.
So I successfully made it through that and turned 32 years old. So now you're looking at a grown 32-year-old man.
You know, you are a grown man now.
Still,
I'll give you that.
I still don't look quite as grown like Travis Tritt,
No.
but I'm still grown.
Maybe like Randy Travis when he was going through that transitional mullet phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I will. But I had a great birthday weekend. My friends and I went up to the casino and we spent it up there, had a good time. And it hit me on the way up there when I was going on that trip that it was a road trip. It was a guy's road trip. And how often do we get to do that, especially at our age now?
Not very often.
You know, being 32 years old, most of my friends are married. They got families, so it's rare. It's a rarity when they get to get away and go on road trips.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to do. So we got there. It was. We had some problems when we first arrived.
Okay.
So we get to the Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Is that Argosy? AKA Argosy.
AKA formerly known as the Argosy.
Okay.
Some people just call it the boat.
The boat, yes.
Some people just call it the boat. But we went up there, and it's cold, right?
Yeah.
And we get up there, and most of my friends, well, let me be honest with you, all my friends use tobacco products. They smoke, so we get a smoking room.
Yeah.
And we get there, and we're excited. It's freezing outside, we had this room booked in advance. And thankful for my friends who go up there often because they were able to get us a free Saturday room.
Okay.
And it's rare when you get a free Saturday room at the casino because usually they give away weekday rooms, but if they're giving away weekend rooms,
You a big baller.
you a big baller. So shout out to Jordan for big balling out there and getting me a hotel for free. I love it. But we get up there and we told them that we're going to have a late arrival. We're going to arrive at 9. And they said, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to watch the UK game. And we get up there to the hotel room, and there was this guy that was checking us in. I think his name was Jason.
Okay.
And I could tell by Jason's face that he gave our room away. I could just tell by his expression. And he said, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but we don't have your room anymore. We gave it away.
Oh.
And we went on to explain how we told them we were going to have a late arrival.
Mm-hmm.
But the manager came by and she said, just stick them in there. It's never good when they say, just stick them.
No.
Just stick them in there. Like, what?
No,
So,
like I'm not a broom that you just put in like the closet that has room.
so I'm like, what's this going to have? I mean, there's like 4 of us. Is it just going to have one bed? Is it even going to have a bed in there? I mean, what is this going to be? So, like I said, all my friends are smokers, and we get a smoking room.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to go outside for my friends to smoke, and it's
Wait.
freezing.
You didn't get a smoking room? I thought in a smoking room you can still smoke inside the room.
No. We got a smoking room originally, but when they gave our room away,
okay.
They that room that they stuck us in,
Yeah,
they ended,
non.
no. They gave us a non. So we had to go up there and we had to go outside every time that they wanted to smoke, which made for a very cold evening.
Yes.
We get there at the casino. I don't have any cash with me because I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll just get cash when I get to the casino.
Yeah.
Because what casino doesn't have ATMs? So I go to get cash out of the ATM, and this worker comes up and she says, I'm sorry, honey. And this is a worker from the casino. She says, nationwide, all ATMs are out of order. I said, excuse me? She said, nationwide, all ATMs are out of order. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we under attack here? Has terrorists shut down our ATMs? Like this, that's some pretty heavy information you just laid on me, that all ATMs. So we're all freaking out. We all immediately start Googling, and we couldn't find the story. So I don't know what she's talking about. But she was right about one thing. All ATMs, at least at the Hollywood Casino, was out of order.
Well, maybe that was her whole world. Right there.
Exactly.
That's her whole
So
world.
we had to leave when we first get there. We had to go find an ATM. Luckily, we found money from the first ATM we went to, so it was not an ATM outage nationwide. Could you imagine though?
No, I absolutely.
It made me think about that. What would that be like if there really was an ATM outage in this country?
Dude.
Where nobody could get money out?
I have not. How much cash do you have in your wallet right now?
Probably $32, and that's a lot of money. Usually it's none.
Yeah.
And the reason I have $32 is because I recently had a casino trip.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you had 32 because you are 32.
No.
No, I mean, I really think, I'll give you one guess how much I have in mine.
How much?
None. Moths would fly out of my wallet.
Like most people, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most people, they depend on these ATMs to get them money. So if there was an outage to where there was really like a shortage of ATMs or all ATMs across the nation was out, it would be bad.
We would shut down.
Yeah.
It would be a shutdown.
It really would be.
Whoa.
Did you hear
I
that?
heard that. Was that my stomach?
I have no idea. My mic, the stand is flippy floppy today, and it's getting on my nerves.
That was me last week.
All right, but it doesn't matter. I had a great birthday. It's Amber. Thank you for my birthday gift. I should mention you got me something that I really, really have enjoyed because I've been reading it. She got me the Howard Stern book, Howard Comes Again.
Yes.
It's his new book. I love it.
Good.
It's a book about Howard Stern's interviews and all the famous interviews that he's had, and there's no greater interviewer than Howard Stern.
See, I wanted to peruse it, but I was so afraid that I would mess it up, and I knew that this was my one chance to get you a really good gift.
Yeah.
So I didn't even touch it. I think we left it in the bag until I literally took it out of the bag and put it in the gift bag.
Yeah.
And I waited to the last minute to even do that.
Yeah, and I'm not really a book reader, so I'm proud of myself for reading this, but I realized in order for me to read a book, I just need to be interested in the material. So
that's with any book.
I appreciate that. I've enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoy it.
Good.
Anything about radio, I enjoy. But Amber, speaking of radio, have you heard about all of the massive layoffs that Iheart Radio has had?
I have, unfortunately.
Several local Louisville shows had to say goodbye to their audiences this past Tuesday. Let's see, was this a week ago? Yeah, it was about a week or two ago. I was so distracted by my birthday. This happened around January the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And several Louisville local radio shows had to say goodbye. Apparently, Iheart Radio is doing some restructuring.
Yep.
And they are reorganizing. They, in return, laid off a ton of people to save money.
And it was like a nationwide thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nationwide.
Okay.
I mean, there were people like Stephen A. Smith getting laid off. I mean, people who you would nationally know getting laid off. But I just want to talk about some of the local people that you might recognize and some of the people that even live here in the city of Lexington might recognize. Some of the people that lost their jobs. Okay, the play-by-play guy that does play-by-play for Louisville basketball, Paul Rogers, he does a morning show. He lost his job. He said on the day he was laid off, he said, "My position was eliminated and my services were no longer needed." That was the only note that was in my email when I arrived to work on Tuesday morning. He was 68 years old. So I worry about people that are that old and are used to doing something they love for so long, because he's been doing this for 47 years.
Wow.
And I worry about people like that who no longer have that, who's used to getting up and doing that every day and no longer have it. They don't usually live very long.
Well, yeah, because that's his purpose for life.
He will remain as the Louisville play-by-play announcer, though.
Okay, that's good.
So at least it's not getting all stripped from him.
Yeah.
Mike Rutherford and John Ramsey was a sports team, probably the highest-rated sports show, according to John Ramsey. He says that he was shocked to hear that he was going to lose his job, John Ramsey did, because of the high ratings that he had. He said, Mike Rutherford said, that's his co-host, he said, "Yesterday was my final radio show," he tweeted out. He said, "It's my final radio show with 790. If it had to end, I'm glad it ended at a Hooters in Jeffersonville."
Oh,
That's where he did his last show. And John Ramsey tweeted, "Just had confirmation last week of us being the highest rated sports show. It's hard to understand, but I have no regrets. Loved every minute." Ramsey told the Courier-Journal both hosts had been laid off, but he didn't know why, and the news came out of nowhere. So everybody heard this news out of nowhere. It's like they woke up went to work just like a regular day,
Yep.
and they had emails saying that they no longer were needed at the station, and some had been there for 40-something years.
And that's everybody's fear with every job. That's everybody's fear, that you're going to walk in and somebody pulled the rug out.
And I can imagine having a job like radio where you're in the spotlight and you're doing what you love, and it's a rush every single day to no longer having it.
Yep. And it's just gone, and you don't know how to explain it to people because you don't really know how to rationalize it yourself.
Yeah, trying to rationalize it yourself. Leland Conway, also a popular name, had a popular show on iHeartRadio, lost his job. He tweets out, "The end of one era brings a new season of opportunity. It's been a heck of a ride. Parting ways with iHeartRadio as of today." That's what he said. He said, "Not sure what's next, but can't wait to see what the future holds. A big thanks to everyone at iHeart and all to you. God bless. You will hear from me soon." So, Leland Conway, that shocked me. Out of everybody that lost their job, I was shocked to hear that he's no longer going to be doing it. Amy Nick, another popular radio host in Louisville, she hosts 97.5. She hosts just a work day show where she does talk and play songs. She's been on the air for years, and she says she will no longer do that job. So,
Wow.
iHeartRadio has more than 800 stations, and they all filed for bankrupt in 2018 and worked with creators to continue the broadcasting amidst the problems with declining advertising dollars. So,
Well, then they had to know that this wasn't coming out of left field. I mean, if your company files for bankruptcy, then you kind of have an inkling, hey, something's going to happen.
Exactly.
Eventually.
Exactly.
It sucks. I mean, I've been there myself, in the laboratory world, but you know in the back of your head, like, one of these days I'm going to come in and I'm going to have that email.
It has to be, and it's really unfortunate for these radio personalities because they lost their jobs because somebody else wasn't doing their job.
Well,
Because hear me out. These people were having high ratings, they were being listened to, and iHeartRadio assured them it had nothing to do with their ratings. It was people who were not selling the advertisements. Advertising dollars were probably ridiculous. Nobody's going to spend a ton of money to break the bank. So they were probably costing these highly rated shows, they were charging lots of money for advertisers to advertise with them.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that it was just advertising. I would say, they probably looked at the market, how many people are tuning in. Yeah, you can have great ratings on a show, but if you only have 500 listeners listening, but yet you have all 500, that doesn't mean that you are excelling. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of things that played into who got let go.
Yeah. What this means now, though, is do you know how many unemployed radio personalities are out there? Out there. So there's a lot of people going to be vying for this job, and I tell you what, it's a good thing that we have the hottest show in Lexington, Kentucky right now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Off the Cuff, and you got it locked right here on 93.9 FM. So stick with us. We got lots more coming up after these words.
My name is Deborah Logan Lawson, and I am with Conversations Around the Table. You are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
You are listening to Radio Lex, and this is Drive Talk. Did you know that in 2015, 161,393 collisions were reported in Kentucky with 707 fatalities? Did you know that 146 out of those 707 souls belongs to the age group of 15 to 24? Did you know that 4,217 crashes that year were DUI cases? Dear youngsters of our beloved Bluegrass State, most of these fatalities occur when you are driving under the influence. But the good news is that this is not 2015. This year, we can make a difference by being more responsible. Let us promise that we will not put our lives in danger. Our roads, our responsibilities.
I need
This
really
message
need some
brought
water.
to you by State Farm and Toyota.
I got a little bit of hot chocolate left. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Mom, what are you doing on the computer?
I'm signing us up for Lex Alerts from Lexington Emergency Management.
What's
Nothing, I made a bad joke.
It's a service that can call, text, or email us alerts about emergencies here.
like bad weather?
Yes. And alerts from the health department and information about emergencies that affect everyone, like evacuations and shelter-in-place orders.
It sounds important.
Crystal says, "What's up?" Hey, Crystal. Hey, Wade.
During and after emergencies. That's why it's important to sign up for Lex Alerts from Lexington Emergency Management. You'll get emergency alerts on your cell phone with a call or a text. If you prefer, you'll just get an email to your phone, tablet, or computer. When seconds count, get your best alerts from Lex Alerts. Sign up for Lex Alerts today at BeReadyLexington.com. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Amber, I love being from the mountains.
Yeah.
I brag about it all the time. I think people from the mountains, salt of the earth people.
Well, yeah.
The greatest people that ever lived. Very happy to be from the 606. You know where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
You know where this is going. Burt Gardner, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing a good light to the mountains. I love it. I love it when there's positive light going on in the mountains, and Burke is really bringing his A game. He truly is. He is a podcaster. He does this podcast called the Scouting Report Podcast, and he was broadcasting with his co-host the All-A championship game between the Paintsville and Shelby Valley boys basketball teams. After an exciting end, Amber, to the game, a small fight broke out at the end of the game. Yeah. And it was between a member of a coach's family and a security guard. And I have the clip of Burt Gardner calling the game. And if this doesn't remind you of Jim Ross from the World Wrestling Federation, I don't know what does. So you're going to have to listen to him calling the game. And this is from his Twitter account. Hey, I can listen to that all day. It's got 1 million views. 100,000 of those are probably me.
I was going to say, how many times have you watched it?
I absolutely love it. 606, by God. It has taken Kentucky by storm. There have been T-shirts already printed, and people are buying them.
Hey, I will be next in line to buy one. That's my agenda for tomorrow.
This guy, he does this podcast. He just goes on there. He has fun, and you could tell it in his broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
It just sounded like a bunch of buddies.
Yeah.
Getting on Facebook Live and broadcasting a game from their point of view. And that's kind of what their podcast is.
Yeah.
So I'm not really quite sure if that broadcast went across the radio. It might have. I hope to God it did. I hope it did. But, hey, I think I have found the play-by-play guy for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
He's right here.
The redneck version of Jim Ross?
Yes.
Got him.
I'm telling you. I thought it was perfect.
I honestly, I hope he hears this because I hope he gets to know that you compared him to one of the greatest. So we should make sure that he gets a clip of that.
It's never a bad thing to be compared to Jim Ross.
No.
I think Jim Ross is the greatest play-by-play guy of all time.
I know. That's why I know that you hold that in a high regard.
So Burke has got plenty of recognition for this. He's been on national talk shows. People have... he's called in. People have talked to him. People are covering the story. His Twitter following has went up. His podcast following has went up. He said that the fame is great, but he's just happy to bring a light to the place he calls home. He's now looking for any future he may have in broadcasting in the 606.
There you go.
So I think, if anything, people just probably want to have him on their show just to talk basketball with him. I would like to have him come on the show on Off the Cuff and talk high school basketball near the Sweet 16.
That would be fun.
Near March, I'm going to see if I could reach out to him if he could come on and talk a little 606, by God.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I'm from the 606.
I'm from the 606.
My telephone number is 606.
No, I'd have to drop that. I dropped the 606 from my number.
You sold out and went 859?
I did. I sold out 859, baby. And see, it ain't got a ring to it like 606.
It don't.
It don't.
But I thought it was hilarious. Now, Amber, this next story that I want to talk about, it's not hilarious. It's actually very sad. It's about the Aaron Hernandez documentary. Have you got a chance to watch the documentary that was released on January the 15th on Netflix?
I did. My husband and I sat down and we watched all 3 parts.
Yeah, it was a 3-part documentary covering the story of the murder of Odin Lloyd.
Yep.
That was done by Aaron Hernandez. People who don't know who Aaron Hernandez is, he is a former NFL football player. He played for the Patriots.
Yep.
He won a Super Bowl. Not only did he win a Super Bowl, but he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. A lot of players go to the Super Bowl, but how many people can say they actually scored? They run a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Not many.
Aaron Hernandez can. And I watched that documentary, and there's been a lot of documentaries about it. It's hard to find. It's hard to say something that's not already been said. So I'll just say this: I think the whole thing is just sad. Aaron Hernandez was clearly someone who struggled with his sexuality. He's someone that wanted to keep it a secret. And I think the documentary clearly shows that he became very homicidal to protect his secret. He was accused of killing those 2 men at a stoplight
In Boston, yep. About a year prior to the killing of Odin Lloyd.
It looked like, if you ask me, those were probably 2 guys that he was sleeping around with.
I would say he was intimate with both.
With both
males.
With both males. And you got to keep in mind, Aaron Hernandez was very much in the closet.
Very.
He was very much. He had what they called in the documentary a beard.
Yep.
And a beard is when a gay man has a girlfriend to cover up the fact that he is gay.
Yep.
Aaron Hernandez did that. He had a beautiful fiance, had a daughter.
Yep.
He seemed and appeared to have the perfect life. His house was gorgeous.
It was immaculate.
Immaculate.
It was beautiful.
It looked like something you would see in a gardening magazine.
Yes.
Like the perfect slice of American life was Aaron Hernandez. He had the picture perfect life.
Yes, that man cave alone would have been enough to keep me satisfied.
And then, so he killed those 2 guys 1 year prior to the Odin Lloyd murder. And then in 2013, he went down for the murder of Odin Lloyd. He shot him, tragically and brutally shot him. Shot him a couple times. One time shot him in the back. He fell down, and at that point, he was paralyzed because of the shot to the spine, the injury to the spine. And then when he was laying there on the ground, he shot him 2 more times, and that ended his life. If you want to hear why I think he shot Odin Lloyd, because people were trying to figure out the motive, I'm probably going to guess that Odin Lloyd found Aaron's secret out.
Yep.
He found it out, whether he walked in on him in the act, or he found text messages or pictures. It was something to the point to where he found out more than what he needed to know.
Yep.
And Hernandez was so messed up in his head, he would do anything to protect a secret.
Well, I think what baffled me the most about it was the fact that people think that they can... Look, folks, anything that you say out into the world, it's not a secret anymore.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. All it takes is one person to know something that you've got on the inner thinkings of your brain. And it's not a secret anymore. It's not. And he knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that. I think he knew it was going to come to that because he was unwilling to be who he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't even entertain the idea of coming out of the closet.
No, and what he done was he destroyed multiple people's lives.
Not only did he destroy his, he destroyed multiple people's lives. And you got to think, with clear vision now, looking back, if he would have just accepted who he was and he would have been honest with everybody and himself, he wouldn't have had to have killed people to keep his secret, because the secret would have been out. There is a true meaning to the truth shall set you free. There's a true meaning behind that. You will be free if you're just honest. It's hard to lie, and it's hard to keep living a lie every single day.
Every day.
And he was killing people to protect his secret.
And at that point, and I know that we're not talking about somebody who was rational, because, you know, you and I have a saying, you can't rationalize irrational people.
Yeah.
And he was very much an irrational person. And I think, you know, I think if he would have had a chance to go back and redo it, I think the only thing he would have done differently was just make sure he didn't get caught. I still think he would have led that same path.
Yeah.
I don't think that anything would have changed.
Didn't he also kill, or he didn't kill, he attempted to kill somebody, shot him in the face.
His drug dealer, of all people.
And he did that why?
I think his drug dealer questioned him about the shootings in Boston.
That's right. Because he says, oh, I know why you shot him. They were saying that you had a thing with him.
Yes.
And that was all it took for Aaron to say, you know what, he knows too much. Pop, pop.
Dude fell asleep, was in the backseat of a car, fell asleep.
And woke up.
Yes, to a gun between his eyes, and boom.
Shot him and lived through it.
He did, he lived through it.
He lived through it.
And, they tore him apart on that stand. They did. And I get it. They were, the defense attorneys were doing their job, but at the end of the day, when they went home, they had to think to themselves, like, I'm really defending somebody who point blank put a gun between somebody's eyes and shot him.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, and wanted them to be dead. So Aaron killed those two people at the stoplight, tried to kill that one guy, killed Odin Lloyd successfully and sloppily, and all just to keep a secret. So these are just people he's whacking.
And you know what? Secret still came out, buddy. Secret's still out. We all know. Everybody knows now.
And everybody said, ultimately, the truth will always come out at the end of the day, yeah.
And the truth did not get to set him free because, unfortunately, he took his own life.
Yeah.
He took his life.
Mm-hmm. And he took his life because they started really circulating that conversation around radio stations about his sexuality.
Yes.
And he got really embarrassed. And finally, I think a couple people come forward that they did hook up with him. And that was it. He just decided, because of that, he wanted to be dead. Just think, that was the absolute worst thing in his life to him.
Wow.
The fact that he was gay. That was the absolute worst thing. And he proved that over and over because he thought that it was better to kill people than for people to find that out, and it was better for him to kill himself when people did find out.
And I find it hilarious that that's how he looked at it. Because that's how he looked at it. He much rather would have kept that secret than to just be like, hey, I am a part of the LGBT community.
Yeah.
He thought that it was better to kill people. And, I know that brings it to a moral compass. People say that, being gay is immoral. Well, killing people is also immoral, so two wrongs do not make a right. They didn't make a right there, and I don't understand why.
I don't think he was mad at himself for being gay because it was immoral. I think he was mad at himself because he was just ashamed. It was a shameful thing.
I would say probably my daughter growing up knowing that I was a monster should have been enough shame for him.
Yeah, it's got a lot of great reviews. If you don't have anything to do, that's on Netflix if you wanted to check that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to take a quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back after these words.
Host of Lexington Food Justice Radio, and you are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington Community Radio.
You are listening to Radio Lex, and this is Drive Talk. For many of us students at the University of Kentucky, it's almost time to drive back home for the winter break and the holiday season. But how many of us make it back home safely? 17% of vehicle crashes occur during winter conditions.
What's up, Joe?
Even the most
What's up,
experienced
Kristen?
driver can be challenged by traveling in winter weather. Be prepared and stay alert for your drive. It's almost the most wonderful time of the year. Make sure you make it back to enjoy it. Our roads, our responsibility. This message brought to you by State Farm and Toyota.
In partnership with Lexington Community Radio and Transylvania University, the Lyric Theater and Cultural Arts Center dedicates a brand new recording center to the late local broadcaster Alex Williams Jr. The Recording Center is a beacon for the Lyric's ongoing oral history projects, which highlight the rich history of the theater itself and the East End community. We would like to extend an invitation to anyone who would like to tell his or her stories to be recorded in our brand new Alex Williams Jr. Recording Center. Call 859-280-2201 or email patronservices@lexingtonlyric.com for more information. Don't forget to check us out on all social media platforms at Lexington Lyric.
Hi, I'm Lane with Life in the Fast Lane. Make sure you tune in to Radio Lex. WLXU 93.9 LPFM on Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m. as we play some upbeat music to energize your day and thoughtful conversation so you appreciate what's happening around you as you're doing life in the fast lane.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in the studio with me. Amber, I did this song for you.
You know I am a huge fan of Roxette.
She died, didn't she?
Unfortunately, she did pass away, and that was, it was very sad because I think she passed away and a lot of people just didn't realize how amazing she really was. And they had so many good songs.
What other song did she have besides this one that was really big?
Oh my gosh, Joyride, The Look. There's all kinds.
This reminds me of Pretty Woman when Julia Roberts leaves Richard Gere for like a day, and they play this song while he's walking around the hotel by himself, missing her.
Well, walking around in the grass with no shoes on. I remember thinking that was very weird. I was like, why is he doing that? But then I realized it's because she told him to do it.
Amber, if you've ever drove up Interstate 75, you've seen the famous Florence Yalls water tower.
Oh, yeah.
That's displayed in Florence, Kentucky. And that tower, have you ever wondered how it got its name, Florence Yalls?
Well, I feel like I read an article a couple of years back, but it didn't stick with me, so...
It says the Florence water tower originally was painted in the 1970s with the words Florence Mall.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? Because it's right beside the Florence Mall.
Yeah.
And it says the use of the word mall was deemed illegal because corporate sponsorships were not allowed on a city water tower. So the city's mayor ordered the M to be repainted into a Y, which is fine because it became a cultural landmark.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the Florence Yalls Tower.
Florence Yalls.
It's famous. But I bring that up, Amber, because now not only does Florence have a big, gigantic water tower that says Florence Yalls,
yeah.
They now have a baseball team called the Florence Yalls.
Oh, they do not.
They do. They do. They originally had the Florence Freedom.
Yeah.
It was called the Florence Freedom. And I think that's what it was, right? The Florence Freedoms?
Sure, I'm going with you on that.
Yeah, the Florence Freedom. It's a part of the 14 Frontier League. And they announced that they're changing their name from Florence Freedom to the Florence Yalls.
Oh, man.
I love that, don't you?
I don't know about that one.
Let's go Yalls!
Yeah, let's go, y'all.
They said it's Kentucky's team. They said you can't get no more Kentucky than y'all. So I think it's very Kentucky-ish.
I mean, I agree. It is very Kentucky-ish, but I just don't know if I'd want that to be my baseball team or not.
Well, apparently a lot of people did because it was voted on. It says that the new nickname resulted from a contest seeking ideas from fans after new ownership took over the club last fall. So this baseball team, they call it a club. People ask all the time, well, why don't they play the Legends? Well, apparently they're not on the same level as the Legends.
Okay.
So it's a completely different league that they're in. They're not minor league or anything like that. It's just a city club.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a nice little ballpark. I've been there a couple times actually.
Who have you seen there?
It was the Florence Yalls. It was I don't remember who they played.
But you went to watch them.
I did, and I tell you, it's going to baseball games is fun. What I like about baseball games is you never miss anything that's going out on the field.
Yeah.
You can talk, go get you a snack, go use the bathroom, and you still didn't miss anything on the field. So that's what I love about baseball. So sometimes the Reds, it can be a little crowded, a little overwhelming, and a little expensive.
Yeah.
Go to a Yalls game. Go to a Legends game.
We should go to a Legends game.
Yeah, it's fun. You still get that vibe that you're at a baseball game.
Well, yeah.
So
I hear it too from the house.
Yeah.
You can hear them.
The Legends.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're close.
You know,
I got Bryan Station on one side and the Legends on another.
Speaking of Bryan Station, last night, I don't know if you guys heard that apparently the space station was flying over Lexington at 6:30 last night in Lexington. And I said, Amber, let's go outside at 6:30 and look at the space station. Let's look up. And we both go outside at 6:30. We both look up. I'm like, do you see the space station? And she says, I said, look at that light, Amber. I think that's the space station. She said, no, I think that's a light from Bryan Station. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure it's the wrong station.
Okay. In my defense, we were not out there at 6:30. We missed it by like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and there was only a small window, and that was definitely a light from Bryan Station.
I don't think so. It was a glowing figure flying in the sky.
It was not moving
And
at all.
It was.
Maybe it was moving because you were like shivering, because it was like 20 degrees outside.
On my end. But how cool is that? Even though we didn't see it,
Yeah.
I thought we did, but even though we didn't see it, how cool that the National Space Station was flying over
That
us.
was cool. A lot of people did see it. I seen some pictures that people had actually been able to take, so it was actually a really cool thing. I wish we would have caught it.
I do too. All right, Amber, we're going to take Off the Cuffs Song of the Week break. But before I play this song, did you know Eminem dropped a surprise album on everybody?
Did.
What do you think of it? Are you going to judge it? Hold on. Are you going to judge it before you even listen to it?
Well, no, I'm not going to judge it before I listen to it because, I am a huge Marshall Mathers fan.
Yeah.
But I don't like the context and the pretext as to why he just dropped this album. I don't think that you should ever do anything out of hate, and I feel like a lot of this came from hate, and that strays so far from the Eminem that we all love. He never cared to take jabs at himself, and he took jabs at other people, but it was always fun and lighthearted. And now he does a lot of things out of hate, and I think that's very sad.
So this album is... Why did he release this album? I don't really know the story.
He was in a beef with Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
And they were going back and forth
Yeah.
because I think he said some things about Mariah Carey, who
Yeah.
was Nick Cannon's ex-wife, baby mama.
Yeah.
And Nick Cannon stuck up for her. He's like, no, man. This isn't 2000 anymore. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Because, Mariah and Eminem had a beef go on. They had some songs back and forth.
Right.
So I think, people were waiting on this awesome Marshall Mathers album, and we didn't get that. We got hate.
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting take on it. What I've listened, I like. I do. I don't look at it as a project of hate. It's a very interesting take. I like the fact that he surprised us a lot with this album. Not only did he surprise us with the release, but he surprised us with the collaborations. And it's pretty unlike Eminem to collaborate with the artist that he did. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're going to take Off the Cuffs Song of the Week break. And if you haven't guessed who the artist is going to be this week, it is Marshall Mathers. It is going to be Eminem with a song from his new album featuring Juice WRLD. Enjoy.
My whole squad's in here walking around the party, a cross between a zombie apocalypse and Bobby the breaking in witches.
Turn that down so I don't get blocked from the radio or from Facebook, because they will
block it.
Let's see. Joe says, I'm heading to Florida on Saturday. Be good, brother. Keep it. Joe, man, good luck with everything. I'm in Florida. Chris Cooper, thanks, buddy. Did you like that Roxetta?
I did. I love them.
Hey, Donna. What's up, Wade, again? Old man Adam. Whatever.
Nobody wanted, but they're gonna get it anyway. I'm beginning to feel like I'm in the elements. Kill the vanilla gorilla, you bring any killer within me out of me. You don't wanna be the enemy of the demon within me and being a receiving enemy. What's the good of the enemy? Every bit of his the epitome of his.
He's making sense, though. I feel like that I had to stop that song so I could give Eminem a break and a fresh breath of air.
I literally understood nothing that he said. No words.
You don't?
None. Mm-mm.
I thought it was pretty good. I really do. I think that his album is going to take off because these surprise albums, I think that's what people are doing now.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, it does, you know, it brings a wow factor with it because they're like, whoa, we didn't even know you were working on anything.
It was very much, I feel like, old Eminem-ish. The art, you know, how he's burying somebody at the beginning of the album, and you can hear the shovels of the dirt. That's very old Eminem, Slim Shady. Because he always talked about murdering his ex-wife.
Kim, yeah. Kim was always going down. His mom. Yeah. But Haley was a lot of his life.
His daughter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take one last break before we have our last segment. So stick with us. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Radio Lex, and this is Drive Talk. Teenage drivers in Kentucky are more likely to die from a car crash than those in any other state in the country. Distracted driving puts you at an even higher risk. Put the phone away. It can wait. No text is worth the rest of your life. Our roads, our responsibility. Drive safe. This message brought to you by State Farm and Toyota.
There's a furry friend who's counting on you to keep him safe and know what to do.
That's me a while back singing about keeping your pet safe in an emergency.
Ralph?
The officials at CSEP recommend that you have a pet kit ready with food, water, medications, bedding, treats, and all the items your furry friend needs to be safe and comfortable in an emergency. After all, they're part of the family too.
This is good advice no matter where you're from. Learn more at BeReadyLexington.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. Amber is also in studio with me. Amber, Kentucky basketball is getting better.
Oh, yeah,
we're getting better. Did you get a chance to watch, because there's been 2 games played since we last been on the air, did you get a chance to watch the Kentucky-Arkansas game when John Calipari got ejected?
And it was amazing.
I always love it when a coach gets ejected. I've got a sound bite of John Calipari after he got ejected of what he had to say about the ejection. Take a listen.
Things had happened that, like, this can't keep going. And so, but 2 of them called him on me. So I got 2, and I'm like, I just got thrown out of this.
That was from the Dan Dawkins show. I love that he said that. He said that he realized when he got kicked out of the game that he had a team that was player-driven and it wasn't coach-driven.
Well, I'd like to think they probably knew that he got ejected, so they were not going to mess up. It's like when your daddy falls, you don't want to do anything else going to make him mad.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. Yeah, you already know daddy's mad.
Yeah, daddy's mad right now.
So you're not going to do anything to make him more mad. Right.
No.
Right. So, and everybody, it's so silly when everybody's like, oh, look, they're doing better now that Cal's gone. Well, like Cal said, okay, well, how about we just let him coach for now on? Let's just let Kenny Payne become the coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, since the players did so well, I guess that means Kenny Payne should just be the head coach now, right?
No, it's because they knew Cal was mad, and they were,
Like, chill out. I'm not going to admit, I got a little upset when I saw Calipari get ejected. I was like, come on, Cal, we don't need this right now. But after hearing the explanation, I understand it. Look, Calipari knows more about basketball than what me and you ever will.
Yep.
So he doesn't need my approval. He doesn't need me to be happy or mad. He's doing his thing.
Yep.
And Cal always gets us ready for March. He always does. And sometimes I just need to enjoy my fandom and just enjoy it. We're okay. I think we're getting better.
We are. We've definitely played much better the last couple of games.
Exactly, and that brings me to the next and most recent game, Kentucky versus Georgia. It was a treat not only to watch Kentucky, but I enjoyed watching Anthony Edwards from Georgia play. Even though he was an enemy that day, it was still fun to watch how talented he is. But I will say, Anthony, you made such a mistake going and playing for Georgia. He had offers, Amber, from Kentucky, from Duke, North Carolina. He had the offers, and he chose Georgia.
Well, he made the decision he felt was best.
Well, the reason he made it is because he's from Georgia.
Yeah.
He's from Georgia, and I guess he just decided that it was best to stay in his hometown versus...
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we still have to remember these guys, they're not guys, they are boys. You know, they're 17, 18 years old, and they're making these huge decisions about moving, you know, different states, leaving their families. And yes, they're coming to, you know, an elite basketball team, but at the same time, you know, you have to remember they are children. They are children.
Exactly, but I do think they're getting better, and it's going to be. Do you know who we have next? I don't know why I'm asking you that. I think we play Saturday. If somebody on the show thread could just let me know who we're playing next, because I'm having a blank. I want to say it's Missouri. But I want to say it's Texas Tech, maybe. Maybe it's Texas Tech, because I know they throw one of those random non-conference in our schedule now, so
yeah.
I don't know. But when we do play at Rupp Arena, Amber, next year, you're going to hear a little bit of a change in the name. I don't know if you heard recently, they changed the name of Rupp Arena to now Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center. That's what they're calling it. The Lexington Center, the convention center, which envelops Rupp Arena, will be renamed the Central Bank Center. According to a press release, Central Bank will pay $19.6 million over the next 14 years for the naming rights. I read that, Amber, and I read that Central Bank paid $19.6 million for that, and the first thought in my mind was, how stupid is the CEO of Central Bank?
Well, obviously he's got money.
No, I mean, he does. His name's Luther Deaton. He's the chairman and CEO of the Lexington-based Central Bank.
Yeah.
And Luther, you made a very bad decision. You made a very poor decision paying $19.6 million and not just taking over the name of Rupp Arena. Now, hear me out. I know that you got to keep Rupp Arena on the arena because you respect Rupp, you respect Adolph Rupp, you respect the basketball team, you respect Kentucky. But Amber, if I had a business and my business paid $19.6 million for naming rights, if Off the Cuff bought the naming rights to Rupp Arena, I'm sorry, but it's going to be Off the Cuff Arena.
Well, the thing, that was a $19.6 million investment that they made for people to still call it Rupp Arena.
To still call it Rupp Arena, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he appeased everybody by calling it Rupp Arena at Central Bank. Well, not really. I say he appeased people, but no, because people are still complaining about it. But you didn't even change the name, and you spent almost $20 million.
But yet they still charge you $3.95 to use their ATM. But yet they're going to pay $19.6 million for me to still call it Rupp Arena, and I'm not even going to acknowledge that it says Central Bank, because I don't like Central Bank. You charge $3.95 for an ATM fee, and that's outrageous.
Nobody's going to call it that. Nobody's going to call it that. And people are still going to get confused because the name is still Rupp Arena. So if I pay $20 million for naming rights, I'm going to put my name. It would be Off the Cuff Court. It'd be Off the Cuff Bench. It'd be Off the Cuff Arena. Off the Cuff Parking. It'd be Off the Cuff Concessions,
And
Amber.
if you didn't call it Off the Cuff, you'd be off the court.
Yeah. And if you didn't call it Off the Cuff, you off the court. That's all there is to it. So I don't understand that this decision by Luther Deaton, the chairman of the Lexington-based Central Bank, I don't understand it. I guess so you'd make it. He said here, he said in a quote, he said, everybody knows who Coach Rupp was, and when we talk about naming rights, the first question I asked was, I will not be a part of taking the Rupp name off of Rupp Arena. So he says he
figured that. Luther.
Yeah, he says he's not going to be a part of taking the name off of Rupp Arena. Then why did you even spend that much money? I'd fire you, buddy. I would fire you. I would fire you if you spent $20 million of my company's money and you messed the name up. You had one job to rename the building and you didn't do that. You still called it Rupp Arena. Now don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, as a fan, I'm happy. Yeah. Happy as a lark, it's still Rupp Arena. I would have been sad if it would have been changed. Well, yeah. I'm just saying, if you put me in Luther Deaton's shoes, or you put me in a CEO's shoes, if I rename a building, I am going to just scratch it and call it whatever I'm paying for it to be called. Yep. I'm not going to keep name out of respect.
No, because all they done was pay $19 million.
For nothing.
For nothing.
For it to still be called Rupp Arena.
Because ain't nobody going to go use their bank still. I mean, like, if that was his thought, like, no.
Yeah. Let's see. Mitch Barnhart said, he says, we want to preserve and enhance the unmatched tradition of the building that bears his name. We look forward to playing at Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center for years to come. I mean, and that's the thing. I think in the beginning, they're going to say, welcome to Rupp Arena at Central Bank. That's how they're going to end it.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's how they'll start their broadcast.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to say, let's go to Rupp.
Yep.
Where are you going to watch the concert at? I'm going to Rupp.
Yep. Nobody's going to say, I'm going to Central Bank Rupp Arena.
I'm going to Rupp Arena at Central Bank Center to watch the concert. No, but here's the thing, Luther. If you change the name of the building, yeah, you would probably have some stubborn people still call it Rupp, but eventually you're going to have a whole generation of people calling it Central Bank Arena.
Eventually.
You had one job. And you just messed it up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, thank you for that.
People are going to get confused thinking I wanted the name changed for Rupp Arena. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Luther he messed up.
Yeah.
He could have, he had one job just to rename it, and he didn't.
And he didn't do that right.
And he didn't. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Off the Cuff. It's unfortunately that time to hit the old dusty trail. You can follow Off the Cuff and listen to all of our previous episodes by going to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can listen to all of our older episodes on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, or really wherever podcasts are listened to. If you haven't downloaded the WLXU app, make sure that you do that. Take out your smartphone, download WLXU. That way you can listen to us live from 4 to 5 if you're out of the Lexington area. But if you're in the Lexington area, turn your dial to and keep it on 93.9 on Thursdays from 4 to 5. You can follow me on Instagram at AdamBanks818. You can follow Amber at Ambu447 on Snapchat and Instagram.
Yes.
What'd you say?
Lots of pictures of my corgis.
Yeah.
Lots.
A lot of interesting pictures. Nothing too entertaining from mine either.
No.
I wouldn't say.
No.
I know you're not too happy about this album, Amber, but we're going to close the show with another.
Double whammy.
I'm double and whammying.
Okay, I can roll with this.
I'm double whammying Eminem's album here. So let me just tell you what this is. We're going to close the show to another Eminem song off his new album. It's called Unaccommodating, featuring MMA. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. We'll see you next week from 4 to 5. Thank you guys for listening to the show. I will see you in the next episode.